All right, everyone, welcome back. It is the Friday message for Two Crones with Mike, and we are still with Angie Harris because Bettina is still working and at her fair. And in the middle of the recording for the podcast, I thought, why don't I ask Angie if she wants to do the Friday message with me? And so when we stopped recording, she said she would love to. And so I explained to her what we do. And I'm going to open it up for you. And you said that you could start feeling that there was a channeled message coming through. So I'm going to open it up and listen to you for a minute or
Yeah.
5 or 10.
Yeah, we'll see how long it is. But yeah, no, I just intuitively I receive guidance and messages from my guides, and I have a feeling that comes over me when they are wanting to speak through me, and I'm feeling this message come through about um, basically the freedom that we can receive through the guidance of love and the opening and the expansion of awareness of who we are and how we're connected with source energy and all that is around us without fear. There is a desire for the spirit to want to speak about releasing the doubts and the fears that have been created in the mind that have kept you separate from your true self, that keep you from being able to be aware of who you are and the guidance that you have within you, and that guidance is a direct reflection of source energy, and understanding that when you come back into the fullness of your higher self, your spirit, understanding that you are never separate from this, that you are always connected, you are always completely loved and fulfilled with all you have within you, you are able to remember that there is nothing that is actually causing you to be in fear, but this is all the ideas and programming of the 3D world and energy, in which has been an idea programmed into the mind. And so releasing the ideas of you have to be, you have to do, you have to act, you have to control, all the things that you think are going to get you back into alignment with who you are the actual things that are keeping you from being in alignment with you who you are, because it comes from within, not from without, and not in the mind. It comes from the heart. The heart is a frequency of love. And opening up this center of who you are will open up who you are really meant to be without the cover, the outward appearance of who you think you should be. So allowing yourself to remember that you are a direct frequency of source energy, and source energy is pure abundance of love without any ideas or programming that it has to be earned, because you cannot earn something that you are. You just are it, and you become it, and you be it. So the message that spirit and we would like to give you today is to remember that this is always in you, and there is nothing separating you except for the idea that you are separate from this part of your true self. So come back to love, release the fear, open up in faith. Remember that you can access this at any moment. It is just the idea that you can't that keeps you from doing so. So
Wow.
there.
I don't know if anybody else felt like that was directly for them, but I do. I feel like that was thank you for my for my next message. What is so interesting, and I mentioned this to Angie at the beginning. I'm borrowing one of Bettina's decks today. Sorry, Bettina. I'm borrowing the Starseed Oracle. I always like to pull up the oracles. This is one of Rebecca Campbell's. I've done her Rose Oracle several times, and her there's a light one that she has as well. And so this is the Starseed, and I don't own it, but Bettina does. And the the title of it is "You've Got the Love." You
Mhm.
got the love, and it's the three or the message on the card is Hadarian energy codependency, and boundaries. The Hadarians are believed to be beacons of pure, divine, unconditional love, who see love in all people and situations. As a result, they can find it hard to have boundaried, interdependent, healthy relationships because they only see the unconditional nature of those they meet. That feels like me as a child. The lovers of the cosmos, they dive in fast. They're here to learn how to love while in a separate body, to learn to love self first and establish healthy relationships with others, to remember that the love they seek is already within them. Y'all, did you listen to the podcast? Did you listen to Angie's message? Like, here it is, that they truly do have all the love all on their own. The message of this card is to review the ways you may need to establish healthier boundaries. Perhaps you're in a codependent relationship in which you may be losing your sense of self. It's common for star seeds to dive deep into relationships, particularly with those who feel safe and familiar at a soul level. Perhaps you're in a relationship in which you give more than you receive. Or perhaps there's a certain I'm looking at volatility. Volatility. I had to sound that out like I was in the fourth grade again. Or perhaps there's a certain volatility to it, and you're always unsure where you stand. This card is a sign to do a relationship review and see what energetic agreements you've made consciously or unconsciously. To acknowledge if there are relationships in which you feel anxious or powerless. If you don't feel like it's safe to relax and just be you. To assess if there are any places of inadequacy that you've used a relationship to soothe and cover up. And I want to follow that up with, especially the relationship with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Where have you programmed and accepted the programs of self relationships and made it about performance, achievement, lovability, withholding, lack consciousness? Where have you done that within yourself? Start there first, because they literally said to learn to love self first. So start with that relationship with you. Ask yourself first, have you lost yourself in your relationship with yourself? Have you lost yourself in trying to be the perfect version of yourself? And if so, how? And how can you develop a deeper love for yourself? And then do you lose yourself in relationships with others? I remember I'm very much a pop culture person. And so there was a scene in Liz Gilbert's story that she did, Eat, Pray, Love, where the husband of her editor, the husband of her one of her best friends, said to her, "Oh, look, you used to look like your husband and now you look like your boyfriend." Because she would meld into her love so much that she would lose herself every time. Sometimes we do that because we don't want to face our past. We don't want to face our history. And I will say this, as you talked, Angie, in our podcast, as you talked about, you've got to heal yourself, and you not, don't do it by yourself. There's people. I mean, you can learn to do some of it, but and you said, you teach people how to heal themselves. In Reiki, as a Reiki master, I hold space in the knowledge of knowing that they are healing themselves, that I'm holding that truth for them. But I promise you, revisiting it's never as painful as the first time of going through it, as the time of going through it. I have revisited what my father did to me multiple times, and it is never as painful as the first time that it happened.
Mm-hmm.
And so our minds will convince us that it's more scary, that it's more painful, that it's more this, more that, and it's not. But as my first shamanic teacher taught us, the only way out is through.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have to go through it, and you're going to have to take away its power.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever it is that has control over you, you're going to have to go through it and take away its power. So
Mm-hmm.
any other messages? We always like to go kind of back and forth. Is there anything that's coming to you that you want to feed off of what we just said in closing?
Yes. 100% agree with you that the only way to heal is to go inward and go through it. And to understand that you are a powerful being and already whole as you are, that you don't have to try to be um, something you're not. Because the more you go inward, the more you go through those layers, the more you allow yourself to thread through those hard moments and hard memories and hard times, the more you uncover the part of you that you already are. You're not trying to become anything or um,
Mhm.
change who you are. You're trying to get back to who you were before all those things happened. And so if you look at it as you're just simply changing, like going back into a different timeline and changing that and opening up and sending love into those places that needed the love the most, then
Yeah.
you are re-loving yourself as well. And that's what's going to bring you back to your authentic version that you already are. So that is exactly how you do it.
And that's the story of the Golden Buddha. For those of you that have never heard the story of the Golden Buddha, there was somewhere Tibet or China somewhere. There was a young monk that was walking amongst the lands amongst his his ashram, and he went up to this big statue that was concrete and mud, and he touched it and a piece fell off and he noticed the shimmering gold underneath it, and he went to tell the elders of his ashram what he had witnessed, what he had seen, and to bring them back, and they said they were all surprised, and what had happened is centuries before it had been a golden Buddha, and these armies were coming through and stealing and pillaging and all of that. And they wanted to protect the golden Buddha. And so they covered it in mud and dirt and rocks until it just looked like it didn't have any value at all.
Mhm.
And so these monks then were able to pull that off and to shine it up and to give it the extra love that it needed, because there was no more threat in the area. And that is exactly what we do. We are this golden being, and we have all these threats that come rushing at us every single day. And we armor ourselves with mud and
Mhm.
concrete and rocks until we start to pull it off and say, I'm safe because I am love. I don't have to be something. I am already this golden thing. I'm already this golden Buddha.
Yeah,
So yeah.
absolutely. I love that
Yay.
story.
I do too. Well, thanks everybody for joining us for the Friday message. And don't forget to like, subscribe, ring that bell, anything you can do to let us know that you're following us. And also, you can reach us at two crones with a mic at gmail.com. That is all spelled out TWOCRONESWITHAMIC at gmail.com. All spelled out, two crones with a mic. Thank you so much. And we'll see you next week.